Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of the KO Show. And it's really good to be here.
To be back.
Yeah. It's both of your silly,
goofy hosts.
Yet I hope insightful, enthusiastic hosts, Dima and
Netzer.
And we have not shot in a while because of this new studio. We've been working on this for like the last probably 2 weeks, maybe.
It's a good amount of time.
A lot of stuff really coming together, so we're excited to bring this to you guys.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sticking with us. We have the first 2 episodes dropping soon, and then this right after. So
in the meantime, we've had a lot of fights happening.
Yes, we have, man. Yes, we have.
About a lot
that we haven't talked about, and I mean, we have. Gosh, we have the July 18th fight.
Yes, sir. July 18th was that
the flyweight champion,
Davison
the new
versus Benavidez, new king of the flyweight division that we've been waiting for like way too long for.
Forever.
It's that crazy division, but we've got this amazing king of the flyweight division. We got Davison Figueiredo. Brazilian, you already know. He packs so much power in just both hands. He's got great ground game. He's just great all over. And that's crazy because the guy he was fighting, Benavidez, listen, just to show you how great Benavidez is, he had a win against Henry Cejudo. You know, the cringe king, the king of cringe, like the goat.
The guy that went on to, I think it wasn't even weigh-ins. It must have been like an interview or something, wearing a literal like whole king outfit.
He's king Halloween of cringe, dude. King of cringe. It's great marketing, but damn, is it cringy, man.
Yeah, you tell me about it.
Yeah, man. But just to show you how good Benavidez is, the opponent. Benavidez had a win against Henry Cejudo. Yep. Henry Cejudo, like, he might be cringy, but he's a great fighter, all in all.
I mean, before the fight, coming in at and this is Benavidez coming in at 38-6. And Figueiredo coming in at 18-1 records we're talking. And oh man, what a hell of a fight, man.
Well, arguably, like, I haven't seen like domination like this since, dude, I don't know. This is like John Jones always, like, I mean, tend to have like great dominations, but Figueiredo, this is like the best title fight, like total domination that I've ever seen. I think he knocked him down like 3 times in the first round, knocked him the fuck out, knocked him down again in the second, then knocked him the fuck out. Like, no, he choked him the fuck out.
Round 1 submission,
yeah. Round 1 submission. It's been a while. Yeah.
It has been a while. Oh man, so many fights. We have the July 5th card.
Yeah.
Featuring, and we have a board here in the background that we're going to be looking at. So we're not looking at anything weird in the back there, but we have the Darren Till Robert Whitaker fight being the main card of the event.
Yeah.
Gustafsson Verdum. You know what I mean? Your favorite fighter coming in.
Yes, sir. So we've got some. Okay, so listen. Chimaev.
I set you up for that one, man. Go ahead, bro. Tell the people why you love this guy so much.
Chimaev, like, I can't tell you I think he's had 2 fights in the UFC. Listen, man, people are comparing him to Khabib, but he's not Khabib, but he's Khabib-esque. You know, every time if you see that underbeard, like, listen, that's just a natural sign to watch the fuck out. Like, there's, like, the nature has, like, claws, right? Yep. You know to watch the fuck out. If you got big-ass fangs, you know to watch the fuck out. If you see an underbeard, watch the fuck out, because this boy's coming for your ass.
It's coming, and listen. Let me tell you something. I wasn't as on the train as you were, but just from, like, your sheer amount of excitement for this guy coming in, I was like, all right, I'll watch it. Sure, yeah, I'll watch it. I think we watched it together.
Yeah.
And oh my god, man.
We were watching it while we were getting the studio together, and I was like, yo, dude, stop what the fuck you're doing. Watch this fight.
Stop painting the walls.
Stop fucking painting the walls. Watch this fucking fight. This guy is different. And dude, we saw that in the first round.
Yes, we did.
Utter domination, bro. Utter domination. Like, listen, this guy, and it's not even
to make sure that everyone knows, this guy has that was his second time fighting in 1 week, in 2 weeks.
About like 10 days.
10 days.
10 days.
10 days. I mean, that's insane. That's almost unheard of.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the fastest turnaround in UFC history. Like, this guy wants to fight, and Dana White sees that. He's going to put him together with some other people. I mean, he could. It's a give him. So I think he might fight in the welterweight division. He could fight in the middleweight division if he wants. I think if he fought in the middleweight division, that would be trouble. Welterweight. That's a tough division for him because there's some like Kobe Covington. There's some really good wrestlers and there's some guys in there. But listen, this guy's so good, and everybody's comparing him to Khabib, but he's not Khabib. Like Daniel Cormier said this. Khabib sets up his shots, right? He gives you a couple jabs, he gives you a couple looks, and then he mixes it up, and then he changes levels on you. Mm-hmm. And it's like he also pretends he's going to change levels, and then he throws that eagle punch and knocks you out, but knocks you down like McGregor. Mm-hmm. This guy's looks. Khamzat Chimaev's a different breed. What he does, I'm not taking away anything from Khabib, he's just a different type of fighter. What he does is he's a wolf, right? I think that's his fight name. He just charges in. He doesn't give a shit if he gets a couple shots in. He's just hungry. Eats him. He's hungry for that takedown, and he just gets it.
Yeah, he's a trooper, man. He's a trooper. I could tell just I watched a couple interviews by him, and
he wants to smash them all.
He wants to smash them all, man. And let me tell you something. Yeah, you were right. Like, he really, truly has a hunger, man. I mean, shit, if nothing else, man, again, 2 fights in 11 days. And then he's already asking for more.
He's got quite a personality.
We have Dana doing an interview and being like, listen, because we all know Dana loves
fighters that want to fight.
And he was like, I will do anything to make this fight happen. Right. So it's really, really good to see that competitive nature of an athlete, of a monster, of a wolf.
I want to see Chimaev on the October 23rd, 24th card.
Yeah.
UFC 252. I want to see him in the undercard of that. That would be sick. Listen, DC called for it. So Dana White, I mean, come on now. DC called for it. I'm calling for it. Everybody's calling for it. We want to see Chimaev again. Let's get it done, bro. Chimaev's hungry. But we'll see him again soon, no doubt.
Well, let's talk about the most recent fight, and then we'll start kind of analyzing what these last kind of three cards, right?
Yeah, man.
August 1st. That was yesterday, right? Let's talk about the fight of the night, because that's something I really want to talk about.
Dude, what is it?
Let's talk about
Bobby Brown
versus
what's his name? Versus Vanata.
Yeah.
So this is a rematch, right? The first fight ended up in a draw. I think that Bobby Green won the first fight, but listen, this is a personal opinion. It was a good fight. It left to the judges' scorecards, and it just didn't go his way. Well, it didn't go either way. This was a beautiful fight, man.
God, so many knockdown. I think each guy had some solid knockdowns.
At least one knockdown in the first round.
It was just dog fight, man.
It was a dog fight.
It was a dog fight. Yes, sir, dude. Really. I mean, that's like I think like we turned around like by the end of round 1 and like looked at each other and we're like, bro, this is gonna be fight of the night.
This is fight of the night for sure. We wrote that shit on the board. We're like, this is fight of the night, hands down. After like the first minute of round 1, we're like, bro, there's no fucking way. First like couple minutes, there's like 2 knockdowns. We're like, whoa, and these boys bangs. Bobby Green got that mortgage paid out. He's got his house paid.
Yep. Hit him with the elbow, I believe,
sir. Right? Listen, that elbow gave him some money. Yes, sir, he did. But this was an amazing fight. 3-rounder. Fight of the night. Just a beauty.
A beauty and also another beauty. And a pretty big upset, right? This new up and coming guy that everyone's been talking about.
Shabazian.
Yeah, man.
Versus Brunson.
Yep.
Listen, Shabazian's talented. He came from Ronda Rousey's fight camp. Ronda Rousey's
over there in California, baby.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey's one of his managers, I think, and she says that. I mean, his name is Golden Boy, and she says she's hyping him up. She says that he's her golden boy. He's the one.
Now, it is kind of funny that probably the most hyped up fighter is hyping this fighter up. You know, there's a lot. I think that there's definitely a little bit of a pressure to compete.
Yeah.
Right? And to perform, especially if there's so much hype surrounding it. But this kid's young, man, 22.
He's 22.
Fighting a veteran out of Wilmington, North Carolina, representing our state, you know.
Bleached hair.
And he showed the world.
Bro.
Derek Brunson, he showed the world that, hey man, you got to go through Big Daddy if you want to get anything.
And
in this
he's
game.
listen. So we thought that he was a gatekeeper, right? And maybe we wouldn't call him. He wouldn't call himself a gatekeeper, but people watching would say that like he's been fed to some bad boys like Adesanya, first round KO, Whitaker, first round KO.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some bad men like coming through after that fight.
Champs.
But listen, right now Brunson's on a 3-fight win streak. He's doing real good. He got that dyed hair. He's out here like Slim Shady, bro.
Super Saiyan.
He's Super Saiyan on him. He's just turning it around. So he's a contender. He's coming up.
I definitely agree.
Shabazian was a good fighter. The first round, Shabazian looked good.
Yep.
I think Shabazian won the first round, and he looked really solid. But it just seemed like he gassed out second and third.
Yeah, that was again that night was like full of us kind of looking at each other and being like, yeah, or whoa, or like I think we hit every single emotion on the Richter scale, really. Like, I think we both turned around for that one and looked at each other and we're like, yeah, man, this kid looks gassed out. You know, this kid looks, because he started he started throwing flurries, you know?
Yeah.
Really going in there, really trying to kind of keep the pace up, get Brunson out of that rhythm. Yeah. But hey, that's where that experience in the cage really pays off, and you really know how to kind of tell the younger kids, hey, pipe down. Pipe down.
This is my division for now.
Right.
For now. Listen.
Right.
Brunson implemented his game plan like fantastically, right? The first round, it was feeling it out. I think that Shabazian won. And it was still a solid round. You could still give him Takem's round. But after that, Shabazian still did good early second, but Brunson just sort of stacked on his game plan. He got that takedown. He grounded out that round, that ground and pound, and just in that third, that ground and pound was nasty.
How about the end of round 2? How about the end of that round 2? Saved by the bell, but not really saved by the bell, because we saw in round 3, as soon as that round started,
that was it. That was it. Not even that minute. No, it was in a couple seconds.
Just a powerful being of a man.
Yeah.
Just getting on top and just throwing the nastiest punches, dude. Nastiest punches.
North Carolina represent.
Yeah, yes, man. Sir. They had to bring the doc in there, look the eyes, everything was good, but we saw that, the fighter's head was down, so we kind of felt.
They could listen. I know every fighter wants to fight, and there's always controversy about it, but like they could have called it, right? Like after that second, he was out. Like it looked like he was out. I mean, he wasn't completely out, but like another punch.
His will was broken. His will was broken.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to fight anymore. Yeah. He was done fighting. Yeah. And you saw it. He didn't land a punch. Third, he didn't land a single punch. He got taken down.
And that was it, man. That was it. End of the night.
Yes,
hype train derailed. Yeah, you know what I mean? Give him my paycheck. But yeah, again, like this kid is so young. He's so talented. We saw
coming through the Contender Series.
Exactly. And there's so many good guys coming through that pipeline. Yep. But yeah, let's start analyzing these fights, really. I mean, let's start with, what I really want to start with? I want to skip around here. Dude, all right? Let's talk about, let's talk. And I feel like a lot of people want to hear us talk, maybe not a lot, but, hopefully our growing audience wants to hear us talk about this Darren Till, Robert Whitaker fight. I know I want to talk about it. Yeah, exactly.
Listen. I love Terrence Hill. I thought he was going to win the fight. I was wrong. But dude, Whitaker is a bad man, bro. Like nothing but respect to the champ. He got that dub. He did what he had to do. He mixed it up with those leg kicks.
And there was a huge pressure. And Whitaker kind of talked about this. He's quarantining now, I believe, but he kind of talked about this post-fight. He was like, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not exactly quoting, but he said that there was an immense amount of pressure on him coming off of a loss to Adesanya to perform. He said, something along the lines of, bro, if I lost that second fight, I would be reconsidering. Yeah. So it's really, really nice that he came through. He got the points. He did everything he really had to do to get the points. Yeah. And he pulled through at the end. Because at first it was neck and neck, right? Round 1. Round 2, it was neck and neck. Everyone
elbow knockdown.
Chess game, man. Really, just intense chess game.
He said it in his fight interview. Whitaker said that this is one of the most technical fights that he's ever been in. That says something. He's been against Adesanya.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't know about you, Netzer, but some people call it boring. I call it genius. I call that art.
It's like
You know?
seeing Israel Adesanya. Well, it's not exactly like seeing Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva, but it's similar. Like
Yep.
there wasn't a lot of action, but there were so many different feints. There were so many different looks
And
takedowns. Fucking, there's a lot. There's a lot
those
going on
moments in the UFC really give you an insight of what it takes
to be fighter.
to be a fighter.
It's not always about throwing that jab. It's not always about throwing that overhand. It's
No.
about
mind. It's a mind game, man.
They say it's like 90% mind, 10% physical.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to train, you have to be ready, but once you're in there, you have to be ready to win. There's a different switch that comes with being a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's just nothing but respect to them, to y'all. Like, I mean, fighters fight.
Fighters fight, man.
And it's a tough
Warrior spirit.
game. Warrior spirit, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Till coming in, looking really, really good.
Beat Gastelum before that.
Beat Gastelum before that.
Yeah.
Had a huge kind of surge, you know. I thought, honestly, man, I remember us talking about it because what we do is we call, you know, we make our picks before every fight starts, right?
Yeah.
And so, I honestly, man, I picked Whitaker, but I was like, hey, man, I would not be surprised at all if Till comes back and doesn't even come back. He just wins this, you know? And I was expecting, to be honest, a knockout just because they were trading some really nasty blows. I think he caught Whitaker. Was it first round or second round that he caught Whitaker?
I don't remember. It was
one of the first
he caught him with
rounds.
a solid elbow.
Yeah.
Knocked him down, and it was a good clip, bro. It was solid.
Yeah.
Whitaker came back. He made his adjustments. He gave him different looks. Like Whitaker won this fight with all the different weapons that he had. He just used all the different looks. He went for a takedown, then threw that overhand. Like he had too many weapons.
He got him on the knees too, man.
Yeah.
That's something that both fighters addressed. I think Till said he pretty much his knee buckled as soon as Whitaker, you know, really just gave him a nice little kickaroo.
Nice little bink
Right to the yeah, exactly. So yeah, that seemed to kind of looking after post fight. It seems like Till was really having a trouble bouncing around the canvas. You know what I mean with his legs. But I mean, God, more power to him, man, because that means he was even under more pressure.
Yep.
You know, fighting a champion, a man that's held the belt for a little while. You know,
good amount of time.
I was just impressed with both fighters. I mean, Whitaker coming in again, it's not easy. Especially with what Whitaker was talking about, of him being just mentally and physically drained and not there after and before the Adesanya fight.
And they don't talk about this a lot, though.
No,
they don't talk about how much mental drainage it takes to be a champion.
Yeah.
Just like and I mean, it's being said, but there's so many different expectations of a champion. Like, yes, right. You have to be physically gifted. Yes, you have to have all that. You also need to have this personality to be marketable. Like, I mean, the flyweight division wasn't marketable for so long just because Demetrius Johnson was dominating. He has a solid personality, but there was nobody else.
Yep. That's right.
It's a wild world.
There's a lot of it's a very complex equation that we need to figure out, and I'm not really good at math, you know what I mean? So you know,
Listen, I tutored calculus, but it's still tough for me, man. It's still tough for me.
You know, at the end of the day, fighters are people. You know, they have a lot of, I mean, even personal life comes into it. But like I said, going back to this, you know, going back to the former champ Whitaker, man, he pulled through. He got the points. He knew what to do to get the points. Yep. That was the main thing. He kept the pressure. He kept picking him apart. Till was really good to counter a lot of the strikes that he was receiving. But at the end of the day, Whitaker pulled through with the more amount of points, man.
Yeah.
Amazing fight. We have I really want to kind of get to this one because this was a very short fight, man. And Gustafsson, man.
So
coming back.
I was surprised, man. So Gustafsson versus Fabricio Verdum.
I don't think anyone expected what we witnessed that night to happen.
So we thought that Gustafsson was going to get the dub, right? I think a lot of people thought that Gustafsson, he looked good. He trained at the same training camp as Khamzat Chimaev, my guy. Mr. Smash.
You're going to use every opportunity to use his name.
Yes, sir. He's a good man. Listen. I'm not going to hype him up to say that he's like can dominate everybody, but he could dominate. Right?
He's coming in. We'll give him some time. We'll watch him fight a little bit more. But let's respect Gustafsson, man. What really happened there?
So, listen, Gustafsson, it looks like he got a trip. I don't think that it was a takedown by Fabricio. It looks like he tripped, and then you can't do that against Verdum. His jiu-jitsu game is just phenomenal. and he just got him. He got that submission win. Gustafsson looked really great on his feet. He was looking fantastic. It looked like he flipped him up. Armbar finish. Yep. You just can't do that again. You can't make little mistakes and like trip around with Verdum.
Especially fighting. I mean, out of all sports, and sports are just such an amazing thing, but fighting specifically, you make that one slip up, your knee buckles, your eyes blink. It's it, man.
Listen,
that's it.
You get on the ground. You get on the ground with the black belt of the quality that Verdum is. Listen, Verdum, like, yes, striking might get like, you might have over time your power might diminish over time, like your senses might diminish, but when it comes to jiu-jitsu, like, yes, you might get a little worse over time, but like just the amount of technique that it takes to be at that level, Verdum's still going to retain that. And he showed that against Gustafsson. Gustafsson still he's got some great takedown defense. He's all right on the ground, but he just couldn't hold the candle to
and did he drop a weight class for this?
No, he went up. So he was light heavyweight. And he was top class, right? He was going from second to first contender. John Jones, DC. He just couldn't handle. He couldn't pick up with like the big boys, right? And he's still a great fighter. Not taking anything away from him.
No. He's a champ. He's a champ for sure.
He's championship level for sure. He's just not that upper echelon. Yeah. He's just not there.
It just wasn't his night, man.
It wasn't his night. He got caught early. Gotta give credit to Verdum. Yeah. He caught him. He did what he had to do. Yep. It's not like it wasn't like a lucky thing. Like like Gustafsson went down, Verdum did his thing, and he got the dub. Yep. And that's just how it went. Yeah.
What else do you want to talk on that board, man? Because we have a lot of options here.
Listen, man, there's so many different.
Your boy?
Listen, I can talk about Khamzat Chimaev all day. He got 2 dubs in the UFC back to back.
Was it Robbie?
Killer. You said what?
His opponent. We have to mention the bad boy out of England.
Listen, he was a contender, right? Like Rob Key, if he wasn't fighting Khamzat Chimaev, you would think that he was a contender in the welterweight division. Yeah. Like he was a good fighter. He was getting his experience in, but he just got thrown to the wolves, man. He got thrown to the wolf, sir, and the wolf was hungry. And he devoured, man. He was ready to smash
what a very, that kind of, I'm still not convinced. We still have to see a couple more fights from this guy, but that was, I feel like, the first step that I actually, it was the first time I actually saw him in the ring and saw him do what he did. And I was like, all right, man, I kind of feel you on this hype. I kind of feel you on this hype train.
Here's what's impressive, right? The UFC, it doesn't matter where you are in the ranking system of the UFC, you're still a good fighter. You've been fighting for a while and you should still be able to I'm not going to say you should, but you possibly can still handle your own for like a couple minutes against pretty good fighters. Yeah. Khamzat Chimaev, the way he dominates, like, he's a monster. Everybody, he's a monster. Even people that are considered contenders in the amount of time they did, all first round fucking dominations, just mauling. Yep. That's different, right? Like, yes, there's some people that we don't exactly know their names, but they're in the UFC, they're good fighters, and a complete, utter domination, that says something about a guy. Yep. That says something big about a guy.
And here he is, man, coming out with a W, man. And
calling out McGregor,
McGregor and Nate Diaz. Everyone, man. Everyone.
He's saying, come on.
Give me anyone, man. Give me anyone.
I smashed them.
I smashed them. I mauled them. But we'll be you and me both, and I'm sure a lot of people will be very excited to see his next fight. Hopefully, Dana can put that together for us soon.
Yes, sir.
Number 3, the veterans in the cage, man. The third go-around with the veterans in the cage.
It was definitely multiple fights. They fought in Pride. They fought in the UFC multiple times. It might have been 5. I don't know.
3-peat.
Is it 3-peat?
It's a 3-peat.
Okay, so listen. Shogun. Mauricio. And listen, Lil Nog, bro. Lil Nog out here. That was a beautiful fight.
Wow.
And that looks like every single one of their previous fights. Wow. If you watch their previous fights, it was the same fight.
It was like titans throwing mountains at one another. I was so amazed. I was like, here are 2 amazing, still in shape, guys that have been around for, I mean, decades at this point, right?
Yeah, what I thought it was gonna look like, right? Just like a little joke here. Like it was just a little aside, right? You know, you remember that fucking episode in Family Guy when there was like two old men just throwing?
Oh,
like
yeah,
there's this
yeah.
Nazi and then there's like that little creepy old man and they're throwing, but it was slow mo. It was like right? This is the joke, right? Because they've been in the game for a while, but listen, no slow mo punches for them. They were throwing heat missiles,
Yes,
bro.
they were.
And it was going down. That
They
was a
were
beautiful
exploding
fight.
all over that ring, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just so impressed. And it was a good kind of sneak peek for I think MMA through the decades. MMA, we saw a very old school way of brawling. We saw a very old school, and now kind of in this new age of MMA, right? With all of these different very young fighters coming in. I mean, we're at like the league back then, right? Was kind of dominated by older guys, right? But now we see a surge of just very young talent, young, fresh, green talent coming in. And
what we see is, I agree with you, right? What we see is over time the game changes, it evolves, right? We see that Anderson Silva brought that crazy technical style, that little front kick. It's just this crazy style, and the game evolves. People are just mixing it up better. We're getting more GSPs. We're getting more. Oh, listen, I don't want to disrespect GSP, but we're getting more people that fight like him, right?
Yep.
We got some Kevin Lees, right? These are the type of fighters we're getting. Back in the day, in the Pride days and like the old UFC days, we were getting specialists. I still love specialists, right? Kazma Chimaev, a specialist. Habib, a specialist. I still love them, right? I love people that are at the upper echelon of their technique, of what they do.
Yep.
But we're also getting people that mix it up really well, right?
Two Titans,
man. Lil Nog, fantastic boxing. I think he was gonna be in the Olympics, but ended up not happening.
Yep.
And and Shogun just fantastic kicks, man. Like those kicks were like thrown like baseball bats right to the fucking legs,
but
checking them up.
They were still standing when that bell rang, man.
Both of them were there. Both of them were still there, man.
And three-peat, man. Like I said, that was just a phenomenal fight. I really enjoyed that one. Really enjoyed that one. I think that we should go to the most recent fight, and or no, excuse me, not the most recent fight. I think that we should talk about a couple of up and coming fights, because I know a lot of people have seen.
There's so many,
but I mean, there's one that stands out.
There's one that definitely stands out.
And that is
no, it's 1 2 weeks.
No. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about one that I can see right over the mountain. I'm talking about the Khabib versus Gaethje fight.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're wild.
Yeah, and I know I skipped a very big fight. I'm not taking anything away from Cormier and Stipe, because that's the one that we're honed in on. That's the one that we're looking at and we're super excited about, right? Yes. As I'm sure everyone is, right? Cormier's last fight, he wants to go out with a W. He wants to put that
determines to go to the heavyweight division.
Exactly. He wants to put that belt back on his waist and kind of ride off into the sunset on a unicorn, right? But I mean, just announced. This is why I bring it up.
Just recently,
Khabib versus Gaethje, finally confirmed, October 24th.
Here we go,
all right,
motherfucker! I love it. I'm excited for it, man. My fucking life, dude. As soon as that shit was announced, listen, Khabib's been through some dark times. Respect. He's gotta carry just the weight of that on his shoulders. Right now he's 28 now.
So just in case anyone's living under a rock, Khabib's father passed away recently, and one of his best friends and teammates even thought that he wasn't going to fight for the rest of the year. That's Daniel Cormier. And out of nowhere, Khabib just pops up again with a couple, Instagram, those little pictures on the stories. We see that his agent, Ali kind of throws his name out there, and then the next couple days later, we figure out that this fight's a go, man. And Gaethje, I saw him hopping around in a car, crying and telling everyone do what they believe and follow their dreams.
Gaethje,
and that
badass motherfucker.
Huge opportunity for Gaethje, huge.
Listen, this is an interesting fight, and we're gonna get right back to the other really beautiful fights. But this is a really interesting fight because this might be the most dangerous fight for Khabib, and that's saying something. Khabib's had nothing but dominations only lost one round in his entire career.
Which is, I mean, that's unheard of.
It's domination. Listen, arguably he's the GOAT. He wins this fight, and then he wins the next fight that he wants, GSP, right? Like, just saying. That's crazy.
He's on Mount Rushmore. His face is on Mount Rushmore.
Listen, Gaethje, All-American.
Yeah.
It's not. Listen, everybody's saying that he doesn't use his wrestling. I don't believe that, right? I think that I take the Chael Sonnen approach, and I think that what he does is it's not that he doesn't use his wrestling. He uses his wrestling, but defensively. You don't see him get taken down, right? He just gets to implement his game, get the stand up, and now it's a game of who's the better striker, like Poirier versus Gaethje. Who's the better striker? Poirier edged it out, but. It's beautiful. So if Gaethje, like all he has to do is keep it standing up, right? And I'm saying it as if it's easy. That's horseshit, right? This is Khabib we're talking about.
Don't disrespect my king, bro.
We're not disrespecting Mr. King. Smash them himself, bro. We're not gonna disrespect the king of them, man. The king of the underbeards, bro.
Yeah, bro. And his son's coming up.
You're right, bro. His son a little heavier, but listen, he's still looking phenomenal. But it's gonna be a different type of fight. It's gonna be an All-American wrestler. Yeah.
Just completely dominant. I mean, this is what everyone talks about, right? We have that classic kind of comment about Gaethje not using his wrestling in UFC fights. And something that we've heard Gaethje repeat over and over again is he wants to make a fight exciting. He doesn't want a boring fight. He doesn't want to just wrestle someone and submit him. He wants to knock a motherfucker out, you know? But, however, we're talking about a different breed here. We're talking about someone that, like you said before, has only lost one round in his entire professional career, right? And so... you know, we have a different animal here, right? And because of that, the approach must be different. At least I hope so. But Gaethje seems confident, man. He said on Joe Rogan's. I mean, of course, man. That Ferguson fight was
fantastic.
Just phenomenal.
Something that I want to talk about, and I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just something like Ariel Helwani mentioned that if the same Gaethje that came in the Ferguson fight comes in the Khabib fight, he's going to give Khabib problems. I don't exactly agree with that. Because what we saw, listen, I think Gaethje's new game is phenomenal. I think waiting for shots, calculating stuff, I think that's amazing. But if you're going to be standing up with Khabib, I think you should throw the fucking kitchen sink. Yep. Right? Because if the more calculated, you should be calculated, of course. But when you get taken down, it's all Khabib. And you want to just be able to throw your game at him while he's up. Yeah. And while he's up with you.
And that's an opportunity, man. Because listen, if you get on the ground, the bear will maul you. There's no one in the entire UFC has figured out a way to fight this man on the ground. He is, by far the better wrestler. By far the better. Just light years ahead of everyone else. You know, like
let's analyze the game plan.
Yeah, let's do it.
So with Gaethje, so here's the two game plans that Gaethje can have. Right, first stand up. Right, so he can do two different striking approaches. He can throw the kitchen sink, and he can do what he did before and just brawl, or he can be slower, more calculated, and throw that jab out. Something just to reanalyze what I said. If he throws the kitchen sink, he might be more vulnerable for takedowns, right? You're going in for an overhand or a couple hooks, and then Khabib might throw his ego punch or something, and then change levels right up as soon as you're going towards him, right? If he's more calculated with the jab, he could win by points. I think Gaethje might want to knock out. I think that's what he wants. He said, listen, dude, when he got his interim title against Ferguson, he threw that belt down. He's like, this isn't the real title. I want the real title. I want to fight Khabib. And he got that fight.
He got the mountain man himself, man. And listen, if you're Khabib coming into this, you don't want to hear me talking because you probably already know what the hell you're going to do. Right. And you're just going to dominate and maul. But listen, like you said before, this is definitely going to be Khabib's probably toughest opponent in his whole career. Today, arguably, his father wanted him to go 30-0, so that's what people are thinking. That's what people think. He'll go 30 fights, and
I say style-wise, it's the toughest.
Yeah, toughest. I think for sure.
But then the game of UFC is so weird, right? Yeah. Like let's say the Gaethje wins, or let's say because McGregor. Khabib dominated McGregor. But if McGregor goes against Gaethje, I think McGregor wins. So the game of UFC is weird. There's no calculus of this guy beat this guy, so he must beat this guy.
Yeah.
No, it's styles, it's matchups, right? It's a different breed.
We're not going to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
Just because we're
gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about it later, closer to the fight. But let's kind of end this on a fight, like I said, that's right in the horizon, right before the mountain. Because the mountain is Khabib, and after the mountain is Khabib and
this is still a GOAT quality fight. It's literally a GOAT fight.
Cormier
versus
Stipe
Miocic. Fucking, what does Joey Diaz call him? Stiocic. Nah, no disrespect.
August 15th,
no disrespect.
Saturday, August 15th.
To the Viking himself, Stipe Miocic.
UFC Apex. Yeah, man.
Crazy.
What can you say about it? What can you say about it? I mean, other than crazy, because we've been saying that a lot.
We've been overusing that word. Listen, this is the rubber match, right? DC got that crazy KO in the clinch in the first fight. Stipe got them body shots, ripped that body, and then got that TKO in the second. What's gonna happen in the third? It's anybody knows. I personally, I give it to DC. What we saw in the second fight is that DC still had fantastic striking. He was still standing up with Stipe. It's just that he got overconfident in his hands. He had a full game plan going in where he was going to use more wrestling.
Now listen, I personally rewatched that fight, right? And I also watched the post-conference interviews with his coach, Javier Mendez.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit of insight. Because that's what we should all do, right? We love the sport, right?
Take a look.
Javier said basically that, hey, I was trying to get Cormier to play the ground game just because he's such a beautiful wrestler, and he just wouldn't do it. He just stood up. He, like you said, he had a little bit too much confidence in his hands, and I think that that's ultimately what he got caught up with, man. A little bit too much confidence, and like we said before, the fighting game is one of the most dangerous games, and it is one of the fastest
mistakes will lead to a loss. DC, listen, I don't want to give any advice to DC. Knows what he's got to do. Of course, but we all know, and he knows that he made this mistake, and he's gonna fix it. That's what I think. Now let's turn around Stipe. Before DC, he was the GOAT, like
king.
Unarguable. He was the king of the heavyweight division all time, right?
Firefighter.
I think he tries to keep it standing up. He tries to keep it standing up. He tries to get into that brawl again. I think that's where he feels really comfortable with DC. And when he gets into that brawl, he's gonna pick his shots. And
he wants to essentially, in my mind, have a replay
of the
second fight. That is his ideal position. He wants to keep it on. He wants to keep it up, not on the ground. And he wants to throw some punches. That's what Stipe wants to do.
I think what he does is he keeps it a long fight. He stays. I mean, he could keep it up. He could throw all the kitchen sink and have a brawl with DC. Have him make DC riled up and just going for that brawl. That could get him a dub too. I think what he should do in order to ensure the dub is make it a long fight. He's got longer arms. We know that he's got power when he's moving backwards.
Certainly.
And he's got power both ways in both hands. And he's a fantastic boxer. He keeps it long, tries to make sure that he defends those takedowns by keeping it long, not overcommitting so you don't get caught with a level change. And I think that if Stipe sticks to that, that's how he gets
very
the dub.
Calm, very analyzed approach. Using his length advantage. But it's hard, man. If you have the GOAT like Cormier, man, he'll bring the fight to you if he needs to. He'll get in down there and dirty. It's hard. It's hard for me to see DC let in this one go. I think he has such a huge desire to win this fight being his last fight, that I think that he'll do anything. And I don't think that he'll let his ego damage him on this one.
This is a legacy fight.
Yeah.
This is going to define both the fighters for the rest of their career.
Yep.
This is the most important fight, I would say, of all time in their career, unless John Jones moves up and beats...
maybe the heavyweight division.
Arguably the heavyweight division. Yeah. This is going to be a life-changing fight for both of them and a life-changing fight for us. No matter what, I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. It might be, if DC just ragdolls him, he ragdolls him. But Stipe's got pretty good wrestling too. I mean, that's how he beat Francis Ngannou. Yep. So I don't want to take anything away from him. It's a pick'ems. I give it to DC personally.
Listen, we have this thing going where he picks a fighter,
and then he picks the opposite,
and then I pick the opposite. But listen, I can't go against DC. DC is one of my, for sure, favorite fighters.
He's the most lovable fighter. I say, not arguably.
He's a personality, man.
He's the most lovable fighter in the UFC, right? He's just a guy that you just want to hug. I'm not saying that because of his body shape. Listen, no disrespect, DC. Listen, he's the most lovable fighter. He's just a kind guy, and he's been through his ups and downs. The fans hated him for a good minute in the light heavyweight division, saying he wasn't the rightful champ because he didn't beat John Jones. Dude, he beat everybody else. Yes, he got the L against John Jones. That's going to be a mark in his career. Yep. You know what he did after that? He said, fuck it. I'm going to go up to heavyweight. That was my original division either way. That's where I was going to stay. And he dominates. He gets that first round KO against Stipe. Yeah. He's a different breed. He's a mauler.
He is, man.
He's got great hands. He's got Olympic level wrestling. He's a different type of fighter. What is he, 40 now?
Yeah.
Is this his last
Somewhere
fight?
Near there, yeah, for sure.
And I'm nothing but respect to him.
Nothing to respect for the big men themselves. I think we should pretty much close it off with that. Ladies and gentlemen, our beautiful, beautiful viewership, our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it. Still working on the studio. We should have a couple of new things on the horizon. Keep watching. Maybe you'll see the studio evolve even more, which you definitely will, by the way. Yeah. And tune in for the next one, guys, because we have some really, really, like we said, cool fights coming up, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.
Different analysis, different interviews. Tune in for the next episode of The KO Show.
Thank you.